So you start here.
Oh,
We all
okay,
start
that's
here.
one. Okay.
We're all here. So
My
1,
1.
2, 3.
I think we should name them. I am Tyrone.
Your timer. Okay, I'm gonna be. My character's name is Gabriella.
Mm-hmm.
What's your character's name?
Gabriella.
Your
Alex.
character. You know what I thought you was gonna say?
What?
Cardi B.
Cardi B.
Yeah.
We are playing today Chutes and Ladders with Mark Oshiro. I said that right?
Yeah, you did.
All right.
Thank you very much.
I have a
we're
difficult last
5'2".
name. Not that yours is that difficult, but I have a difficult last name, so.
Look, I get people who are like, "Where's the apostrophe? Are you Irish?" And I'm like, "What? Okay. No, that's not how it works." And then they put it in there for me, and I'm like, "That's no, that's not how names work."
Don't do that.
Wow, I've never done anything like this in my life. This is amazing. Now you're all with us. You're with us. We're all in the same spot. So my book is called Anger is a Gift. It is a YA contemporary book. It's my first book ever. I'm very excited. It's about a bunch of kids who stage a walkout at their high school when a metal detector injures a student. It's a book about activism and hope and shining a light in the dark corners of the world and finding a way to get through it.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. See, that's good. And now I get to spin. Okay. Oh,
I love his spin dance.
So 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
So were you an activist in school? What was your rah-rah sister?
Well, and I mean, there's one element of the book that I've been really enjoyed talking about is that for some of us, we don't really get the choice about being an activist. We're kind of like, because of this world, we're kind of like forced to care about it because of the way we're treated. So
and like all the kids that have been walking out recently, like they don't have a choice.
Yeah, don't necessarily get the choice of like I don't have to think about this.
Yeah.
They have to think about that.
Because people are shooting up their schools.
I know, it's terrible. And so for me, it was, I was involved in high school journalism, and we had to have a big fight with our school district because they tried to take our paper away from us. Yeah, we had an ad for a health services place, and because it had the line emergency contraception on it, they flipped out and tried to take our. Oh no! See, this is. I don't like this game.
While you were sleeping,
this game. Look at this. This is privilege. The white kid gets to go all the way up to number 31. I don't like this game. I hate it. I hate this game.
This is a life sample. Chutes and Ladders. Because
Okay.
look who's in the end.
Look
Tyrone.
at that. Oh. Okay, here we go. One measly spot.
Sorry,
Can I just shoot
Gabriella.
and jump it? No. Actually, one of the best memories I have was my freshman year of college taking a bus all the way to San Francisco to go to the first anti-war protest of my whole life. And it was
How old
huge.
were you?
I was 18 years old, and it was huge. There were thousands, probably tens of thousands of people. And I'd never been to San Francisco, and it was like this whole little, I'm gonna get to see part of the world and be a part of this movement.
big,
It was amazing.
So you can kind of relate to all the kids that went up to DC.
Oh, amazing! Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, even writing the book, because when I was first coming up with it, and even when I was querying it, I would get feedback that was like, "Is this really believable that kids would be into this?" And I was like, "I don't think you're paying attention to history, because kids have been involved with political action for a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
Like, there was school walkouts in in Los Angeles in the 60s and 70s. Like, so this is not a new thing."
How do you find that kids react to your book? And in particular, have you talked to any kids that are part of a movement that have read your book and then see themselves?
So I've been telling this story every night, and it's been so wild. But my very first school event was at Lehman High School in the Bronx. By the way, I have no idea whose turn it is at this point. Okay. Lehman High School is almost at the end of the 6th line in the Bronx. They often don't get, what did you get?
2.
I'm still mad at that kid. They often don't get, no, it's your turn.
No, it is my turn.
It is your turn. They often don't
I'm
get
trying to help you guys.
school visits. Like, no one comes out to do events and stuff. 6, I don't like this.
Again, life samples.
Ooh, look at this. Look at this. Way back here. Supermatic 4. Ooh, I missed that. That's why that was a close one. So I go visit these kids, and in order to get into school, I had to go through a metal detector. Get wanded down by the cops, and then get frisked. And the whole time it's happening, I'm just like, this is, not only is it my book, but I was watching the kids go through it, and it's like nothing to them. Not saying that it doesn't mean anything, but it's so normal to them that this is their everyday. So we go and we sit down in the library. The library's completely full. First 2 people pitch their books, tell them what it's about. So I do mine. I give the exact same pitch I just gave you. Every head in that room was like, "What? What did you just say?" And it was so striking to me because it wasn't just the response, that initial response, but then the questions they started asking. They were like, wait, did you go to high school with a metal detector? What about this? What do they win in the end? Like, do the bad guys win at the end of your book? Like, they were like, because some kid was like, I don't want to read this if they win at the end. And I was like, well, let's start with my name first. But
Right.
like, but that's the thing for these kids, like, and it was so amazing because they were like on it like that. So I think what's been really cool about the feedback I've gotten from kids so far is that they're like, I've never read a book where this issue was ever talked about. And now I have like the means to tell other people like, hey, look, this is what I feel like every day. I feel like a prisoner some days. Some days I come to school and I'm like just so depressed going through a metal detector and being treated like I'm a criminal before anything even happens. And so for me, like I was writing for that kid and like that demographic because we just don't have many stories about us, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
You have mentioned that your this book that's contemporary now was initially science fiction.
Yeah.
How?
How? There's not too many people who like literally change genre, but I did in the middle of actually more towards the end of queering. So I started this book in 2012. Finished a draft within a year, kept rewriting it, sent it to like critique partners and friends, got feedback, and then by 2015 I was like, I think it's ready. I think it's ready to send out to people, and then spent most of 2015 sending it out to agents and just getting rejection. Like, you know, like, and like it's weird because you can't like fight with an agent and argue with them, but they would say things like, it's not believable this. I don't believe that a mom would support a gay son, and I'm just like. Because it's just like it's the same of like I can't sell it because it's not a believable story and I don't think people will relate to it.
You know, we had the most interesting conversation last night with some authors, and the thing that we came up with, and one of them is a former editor, so you know she had some great insight, and she's also a woman of color. You know? And one of the things they were saying is that sometimes what happens, I think, in YA, which for the record, the most important conversations are happening in YA literature.
Agreed.
One of the issues is that we underestimate the intellect and the savvy of kids.
We do.
And we underestimate what they would like and what they find interesting and what's believable to them and what they're able to consume. And we are basing it on adults who don't want to deal. Or at the I don't want to deal phase where the kids are open and are like, no, we're dealing. We're going to deal right now.
I feel like we're also, it's a shortcoming of like thinking that kids don't have empathy. That they don't have the ability to just understand someone who's different than them.
And they do.
And they do.
Great. Yay, Tyrone!
Oh no. This game is full of bigotry. It's evil. I hate it. But like, so a good example of this, that same school visit I did at Lehman High School in the Bronx, I read the scene where the main character Moss tells his mom for the first time, I think I like someone, can I go on a date? And I remember being a little nervous reading it because you never know how anyone's going to react to that sort of thing. And afterwards the librarian came up to me and she was like, there were a bunch of kids in the back who immediately were interested, not because they were gay themselves, but they were like, yo, I've never read a book, like how does that work? Like, his mom's just cool with it? And then they were like, oh, I want to read more because they just wanted to find out. They were like, the whole book is about this one kid? And they're like, I've never read a book from a kid like that. I want to read it. What does he do? Do they make out? Do they go on dates? What do they do on dates? Is that kid on Grindr? You know, and it's just like, those are the questions they're asking. So it's not that there aren't kids out there who can't deal with it, who don't know how to deal with it. It's that we just presuppose that kids
are not interested.
And not interested at all.
And not
the
empathetic
case
to each other.
Did you know? What is
I want to do it.
This is so wild, by the way. Okay. 5.
Oh!
Gabriella's coming up! I'm gonna watch. I'll get 1, 2, 3, and this game, I'll just throw the table over. It's gonna be terrible. 2016, I send my manuscript to an agent, Dongwon Song, and within a week he replied. He was like one of the quickest responses I ever got, and he was like, "This book's voice is amazing. The subject is amazing. We need YA that is addressing violence in schools, specifically in this context." I am like overjoyed at reading this. You also wrote a science fiction book and shoved it on top of it. Pick your science fiction book, pick your contemporary book, write that one, and send that one to me. And I was like,
holy guacamole.
I mean, that kind of feedback hurts. I literally I've been saying and I did for an hour. I just laid on the couch and was like, I can't breathe. This is because that's such a heavy thing to do.
On my chest.
But the reason it was so heavy was because I was like, oh no, I think he's right. Because it's my first book. I tried to do everything in it, and I had give me everything. And so later that day, I was like, I'm just gonna sit down and rewrite the outline and just take the science fiction out and see where it leads me. By the end of the day, I had an outline. 4 months later, I rewrote the whole book. Rewrote it, and then in January, he became my agent. Sold my book in 23 days.
Woo! Yeah.
After at that point, it was 4.5 years. 4.5 years sold in less than a month. And then
it was meant to be.
This is happening now.
And now you're playing Chutes and Ladders with us.
Yes, this is the best, by the way. I'm also incredibly nervous because things are going to happen in the next 2 rounds.
If you could pick a contemporary book and turn it into fantasy, what would you pick?
What?
Oh, yes! Coming up. Sorry.
You're coming up with
wait. A contemporary book and turn it into a fantasy?
Yes. Any contemporary book that's on the show.
I've been talking about this book a lot. I'm so obsessed with it. I want to see the fantasy version of American Panda by Gloria Chow. And I would love to see it magical realism or just weird shit in it. Because I still think you could do the same story, but just in a different context. So that's my answer. Gloria Chow's just so amazing.
That's so good. So you're going to be in conversation tonight with Nick Stone.
The best.
Tell us about the first time you met her.
I met her at YATL Fest in Charleston, South Carolina last year. I had screamed about Dear Martin when it came out on Twitter. And she followed me, and I was just like, I love her. She's amazing. Oh wait, 4. I got 4.
Okay.
2. Oh, we missed it. Oh man, I might actually get there.
Gabriella is headed to the promised land.
Oh, she's going. She's going. And then I met her and spent some time with her at YATL Fest, and she's one of the funniest. She's real. And that's what I love about her. She's real. Her writing is real. She's amazing. She was at my launch in New York City. She's just, oh God, I love her. I remembered a rule, which is that you have to get exactly on 100. You can't overshoot it. Okay. So if I'm on 97, I have to get a 3, or else I can't win. Okay, so you just mentioned a book that you're reading, that you love, you've read. What else are you reading and loving? I've read most of the people's books I'm going to be visiting with on tour. Yeah. So I just read White Rabbit by Caleb Roy.
I haven't read that one yet.
It's so good. It's so amazing because he's fulfilling this niche of books that I didn't realize that I needed, which is he's writing gay murder thrillers. And so I remember being a kid and loving those pulpy thrillers.
He was here a couple months ago.
Yeah, and he writes those really pulpy. I don't even want to say campy because they don't feel campy to me because they're so real. But that thing of both of his books, Last Seen Leaving and White Rabbit, both of them there's a murder at the beginning. And it's about a bunch of teenagers solving it, and it's a dark, seedy underworld in both of them.
Orient Express.
Whoa, God, they're so good. And both of them, I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. I know who it's gonna be. Nope, I was wrong both times. And so I'm super into Caleb's books.
I'm taking that recommendation. That sounds
great.
Right up my alley.
It's so good. And then I'm doing a reread of all of Nina LaCour's books because I'm seeing her in San Francisco. I am the most nervous about my event with her.
Really?
Don't watch this, Nina. She's a huge influence on me because I really like sad contemporary things, both adult and young adult. But I really like people who can lean into sadness, but then still have hope. And so I remember reading Hold Still years ago, and just being, you're crushed by it, but it's so renewing by the end of it. And I finished.
Book club has read.
Oh, I love that book so much. Oh, that was terrible. No!
It's a slide.
Ooh, look how sad that girl is.
Tyrone's got a chance, man.
So does Alex.
Yeah.
Alex is coming for you.
Oh, we'll see. Get that one. We'll see about that.
What was the last book that made you cry?
Ooh. Oh, wow. The last book that made me cry was probably The Beauty That Remains by Ashley Wilford. It's a contemporary, it's about 3 friends dealing with grief. And one of the things that I adore, oh wait, I got a 6, hold on. This is the darkest timeline!
Oh man.
Okay, the last thing I read that made me cry is this game.
I know your ass is up here.
We're filming you behind, so come sit with us somewhere.
Oh, you're filming my behind?
Hey! Alright, I gotta beat him.
Okay.
Is it your turn? Did you go?
I went
By the
already.
way,
Tyrone is
Nick,
losing.
White Child's ahead.
Right. This game is prejudice. It's prejudice.
Always.
Oh, look at this. Okay, I got scared. I thought you were going to go up this way, and I was like, look,
So you
it's right in front of
put
me.
yourself in whiteface to get ahead.
They already picked their characters. I was left with the white kid. I'm not really white. I'm Bulgarian, okay?
I know you're
I'm
not
an
white. That's
immigrant.
what I'm saying. Like you put
They don't-
yourself
I
in
don't-
whiteface.
But there's only 3 children to play.
You've got a black eye, right?
He's a little
Does he?
decrepit.
Yeah.
Yo, look at his hairstyle though.
Oh, I see what happened because
Because he
his
rode
bike.
his bike down the
Down the
slide.
slide. Don't ride bikes on slides.
Yeah.
What's the last question?
If you could pick any character in your book, or say like your main character,
Sure.
to be friends with any other book character.
Did y'all get them at the same place?
Tyrone's
I want Esperanza to be friends with Jordi Perez from the Summer Jordi Perez by.
I haven't read it yet.
It's so
I
good.
started
It's
it and
so
I had to
cute.
I had to put it down because I had all these other books I had to
Oh,
read.
it's-
I would-
redemption.
I'm about to flip
Oh,
this
I'm
table.
so happy.
If my phone wasn't on that
Terrible.
table and
Five.
these phones were on the table, I'd be
1, 2,
like,
3,
forget
4,
it.
5.
Ugh.
Come on,
Look at
Tyrone. I
that.
believe in you so much.
Is this happening?
Come on,
Yeah.
just win some.
Why are they playing Chutes and Ladders? Is the real question. How old are we?
That's the point.
You got it right. I'm gonna say Tyrone's the winner.
Yeah.
Because you just
Oh,
look
Tyrone
furthest.
won. Yay!
Yay!
Tyrone.
So I'm sorry that you
Hey.
did not win.
She's winning. It's like she didn't even start.
I won.
Listen,
I
She didn't
won.
even start.
I had
won.
told Gabriella, which is her name. I'm busting in on this video. Gabriella
Just kidding.
is officially Cardi B.
Yeah.
She got knocked down 8 times, so we were just 2 off, and she would have been able to get up when we got to start the event. You just
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
And playing with us.
And losing.
And losing.
And
And
losing
I know
so
it was
badly.
tough,
It was real tough.
but now you get to chat with this lovely lady.
Yes.
We're so looking forward to it.
Yes.
great.
Stay tuned.
And
Y'all not ready?
this
No.
was YATL plays Chutes and Ladders with Mark Oshiro.
Buy his book or else I will
Or else.
put you in a pot.
Oh.